G'day, I'm John, and on today's episode of Tradie Business School, I'm going to be talking with Jacob, who used to work for me. So that's kind of cool. He's gone on and started his own business. And today you'll hear us talk about how charging more can actually lead you to being busier than ever, why running your business badly is wasting your time and ripping your family off, and how to manage risk, facts, and fear when making the important decisions. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So I started our electrical business back in February the 6th, 2022.
Uh-huh.
So not long after COVID. You were actually my last electrical business employer. I'd been in the industry for like 12 years at that point. I kind of got tired of actually being an electrician and thought I'd go do something else. I went and became a supervisor for like an insurance builder. I lasted 6 months.
Okay.
And I was like, this sucks. I was sick of getting yelled at for other people's mistakes. One piece of advice that my dad gave me, who owns his own business, that kind of really rung true was that if I got to the age of 65 or 70, would I regret not going into business and giving it a crack? And yeah, so I just went full deep. My wife, my biggest supporter and my biggest fueling fire, really pushed me as well. And then I had some pretty good ground bases to kind of work on. You know, I always thought you were a pretty good employer, the way you treated staff and how you kind of treated us. And so I kind of used a lot of that to kind of guide my own path, but kind of also keep things on the road, essentially.
What kind of work do you predominantly do, Jacob?
So we focus predominantly on commercial maintenance, about 30%, and the rest is all residential maintenance. So just mums and pups, EV chargers, downlights, just good cash flow, good turnover. I have 2 builders that I work with. We do smaller projects, kind of up to the $100,000 mark. We don't take on too much risk. But yeah, doing the domestic stuff's good for cash flow. And I find it's very rewarding as well because you're seeing the people that you're working with, and it's something a lot of people plan for. They want the downlights, they want the EV charger, they're doing a kitchen reno, and when you deliver that end product and you see the look on their faces and they're really happy with everything, then it's pretty satisfying. That's what I kind of love about it.
Okay.
Especially, and also in maintenance, fixing problems has always been my favorite thing.
Okay.
When someone calls in and lights not working, motors stop working, whatever it might be, and you figure it out and you feel like a superstar. They're like, wow, oh my goodness, it works now. And you're like, yeah, here's the bill.
I know exactly what you're saying because, long story short, when I sold my businesses and I was figuring out what to do and what to call this one, I went through a process and I realized my number one motivating factor in business wasn't actually making money. It was serving people. And that's why I call this Serve SME.
Yeah.
Because when you actually have a mindset of serving people, you get a lot of reward from them being happy with what you've done. So I like that you've got the same feeling or attitude toward business that I had, because if you focus in on that, the money almost takes care of itself.
Yeah, to a degree.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to learn that. One of those early questions I used to ask you were about the correct way to charge and, you know, things like that. And I think one of the pieces of advice you gave me straight up was knowing your numbers.
Right.
And being more on top of your figures. And from there, you can kind of work out what you should be charging.
Okay.
But so it's not a quick process.
How did you get to know your numbers? What did you do?
2 years of undercharging. That's what I did.
Okay.
I was definitely undercharging for a long time, and I was just kind of surviving. I had a very low mortgage at that point, and my little girl only came along in 2018. So we didn't have a lot of risk, and charging at what I did, I could kind of maintain. But it got to year 2, and it was the end of another month of putting aside my BAS and all that stuff that most business owners understand. And I had no more cash in the bank account than I did the month prior.
Right.
And I was just kind of like, there's got to be something I'm not doing here. There's got to be something wrong, whatever it might be. There's got to be a better way.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people get to that point where it's like, I'm doing something wrong. I may as well go back to wages because there's a lot of stress involved with owning a business, chasing that next job and stuff like that. So that was when I kind of made the decision that I need to change something because I really enjoy being in business. I like running my own show. I like having that flexibility. And that's when, I discovered a coaching and mentoring course. And that's when a lot of things changed.
Right. And so in doing that particular course, you learnt what your costs per hour actually were?
Yeah. So luckily the mentoring person who was running it was very open and honest. He owns and still operates an electrical business and also does the mentoring on the side. And he gave everyone this little spreadsheet and you kind of punch all your figures, like what you want to take home as a wage, what all your business expenses are, and then it spits you out a figure what you need to be billing.
Okay.
And having that in front of me, like, wow, okay, that's what I should be hitting. Why don't I do that?
So when you say it spat you out a figure that you need to be billing, is that like an hourly rate or what you need to bill weekly in all of your work?
It was what you should be charging per hour.
Yeah.
Especially in maintenance game, we've only got maybe 6 billable hours.
Yep.
Because, in between jobs, chasing up more materials, things like that. Compared to construction companies that are running at like 100% billable hours. It's a bit different.
Yep.
So having that figure from a maintenance perspective was really good. Really helpful.
Were you surprised? Like when you saw that figure, was it much larger than what you thought it should be?
I was shocked.
Okay.
I was shocked. It took me a long time, or it took me a good 6 months to get comfortable with charging that much and changing my processes. But a lot of that has done so much better. I'm honestly charging more than I ever have.
Yeah.
And I'm busier than I've ever been.
Right.
Is probably the best way to do it.
Okay. So I want to go back to what you said because there's something very interesting when you realize you're not charging enough, and you said it took you a while to get to where you needed to be.
Yeah.
What was the mental anguish there? What was the hold up? Why didn't you just go, oh, okay, I've been charging this. Now I know I need to charge this. So I'm just going to start charging this.
It took me a little bit to get there.
But what was behind it? Why did it take you a little bit, do you think?
It was a lot of feelings. Like I realized that when I was quoting up and pricing people, I was like, this is what I feel like I should be charging. This is what I feel like the client should be paying. Like, why did I feel that way? Why do I feel like the price should be this? I should know what my price should be. If what's the saying? I'd rather stay home and go broke than go to work to go broke.
Yeah.
Like once you know what you should be charging, the emotion's out of it. You're like, well, if I'm not earning this from the job, then there's no point in me being here. I'll just go on to something else.
But even though you knew the emotion, you knew you needed to charge this much, it still took you 6 months to get there. So I'm being a little bit tricky here because I know what the answer is. Okay, but do you know why you just didn't go bang?
It was just my own internal things. It was just previous advice that I had from other people said I should be charging this, or this is what we charge, sort of thing. But you don't know their story, their numbers, their business. They're just saying, oh, well, this is what we charge, so you should too.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, okay. So that's good. I think the main thing that stops most tradies charging what they should be, because most tradies don't charge enough. There's a few rogue ones out there that are charging way too much. But generally speaking, tradies don't charge enough. And the main reason behind that is they don't want people to say they're getting ripped off. At the end of the day, it's a poverty mindset, okay? And it comes from not wanting to upset people.
Yeah.
What I do to help them get to a point where they are charging what they need to be charging is I've got like a very, very basic formula. And you've got to know what net profit is. Now, most people do. I'm assuming you do, Jacob. You know the difference between gross profit and net profit. So what I tell people is if you're in business, you should have a net profit between 10 to 20%. Anything under 10%, it's not worth the time, effort,
Yeah.
stress, and risk. Anything over 20%, you're probably working too hard, or your managers are probably working too hard, and you'll lead to burnout. Now, of course, there are exceptions. But what I tell people is at the end of the year, after you've paid yourself a proper wage and proper superannuation, if you haven't made a 10% net profit minimum, you're ripping your family off. You're not ripping other people off. You're ripping your family off. And you need to change it, because you're out there taking this risk and working hard. There needs to be a reward.
Yeah.
10% to 20% is not taking the piss.
Going on that, or what a lot of people also fail to kind of understand is your business isn't going to be at your funeral. When you're kicked the bucket, when you're injured and on the couch, your business isn't going to be there for you. So if you're not setting things up in a way that you have either money aside or the business is generating money while you're not there, there will come a time when you hurt yourself significantly or have an injury or maybe want to go on a big holiday.
Yeah.
And the business isn't making money.
Yeah.
So those things, when I kind of, were big factors for me that really started to drive things home, that I'm not doing the right thing by my family, like as you were saying.
Yeah.
If you're sacrificing your time to go to work, it's got to be worth it, right? If you're sacrificing your time at home when you should be relaxing, kicking your feet up, and you're doing quotes, invoices, chasing money, you've got to make it worth it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no point.
Completely agree, mate. Do you remember what some of the questions were that you asked me at the start of the year or the start of last year?
I think it was definitely, is this the correct amount to charge?
Yeah.
I think there's also maybe some growth questions in there, how to get in more clients and things like that. You know, all the very common stuff that most business owners kind of think day to day.
Okay. How much does it cost to be in business? What did you mean by that?
Well, if you kind of think about what's your yearly expenses, insurances, car, rego, your own wages, because if you're not paying yourself a wage as a business owner, you're just doing yourself a dirty. You're not helping yourself at all. You've got to put all that together and you've got to think about, how can I pay that off in a year and still make profit for the bad times as well? Because business isn't straight. It's ups, it's downs, it's peaks and troughs. So if you're always thinking, the sun's going to be shining and we're going to be hitting, 40K a month, the next month you might only hit 10, and it happens. Like we had a bumper couple of months, and then we had a really flat one, and then another bumper one again, and then another flat one, and then February's been a flyer, and then hopefully March continues. But you can't guarantee this. You can forecast a little bit, but how often has a job that you thought was coming up all of a sudden been delayed?
So you mentioned something really cool there. And do you know, like at your particular stage in the business, you're an owner-operator, from what I understand. Do you have anyone that gives you a hand? Apprentices,
I have subcontractors that I help. My goal this year is to put on our first apprentice.
Okay, good.
So we're starting to build up. I have a few key factors that I need to hit consistently. And once I'm hitting those, then I'll be comfortable with putting on my first staff member.
Okay, so what are those things?
Consistent work, consistent 30K months.
Yep.
And then if I've got 3 months of expenses set aside, then I'm ready to pull the trigger.
Okay.
But everyone always says the first employee is the hardest, and then from there it starts to snowball.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my first full-time employee. I remember where I was when I rang him to offer him the job, sitting in the car out the back of a paddock. And
Your paddock or someone else's paddock?
No, someone else's paddock. And it was just one of the most nerve-wracking things that I ever did, because at that particular point I was doubling my business.
It's huge. It's a huge undertaking.
It is. And then I remember years later, I used to prefer it when we employed multiple people at once, because I could have 4 or 5 people start and we could do the same induction for those 4 people
Yeah.
at the one time.
I remember doing the induction down at the office
Did
in
you?
Traralgon.
Okay, good.
Sit on the computer watching the thing, watching him roll out the mats and all these things. I'm just thinking, I'm not going to do these things.
Were you by yourself or were you with someone
Yeah, I
else
was by
then?
myself.
Okay.
Just in the office. Everyone else was running around, picking stuff up and things like that.
Okay.
It was a big old trek.
Yeah, okay. So one of the things that you mentioned, inconsistent months. So that's a real challenge, especially in the earlier stages of business. Now, do you know one of the main reasons why you have those inconsistent months?
I always felt like inconsistent months happen from not diversifying how you're bringing in new work and old work.
Okay.
You've got, a lot of people don't realize after kind of 2 years, you've actually got a really healthy portfolio of clients that you can lean on. A lot of the time, people actually forget you exist. Even if you've done a stellar job, there's been so many times when I've just sent out an email and it hasn't even been work related. It's just been, I've just had a kid, or, we've just upgraded our car. And people all of a sudden reply back and, I lost your number or whatever.
Yep.
But you can't just rely on your old clients either. You've got to be trying bringing in new work. So advertising, running a local coffee van at your kid's kindy or a sporting event or something like that. Yeah, I think relying too much on word of mouth will only get you so far.
Yeah. So that's all really, really good. The main reason businesses at this level have up and down months is because you've got no work or very little work. So you panic a little bit and you do all of the stuff that you just mentioned and you generate some work. And then you get so busy doing the work, you don't have time, or you forget, or you don't want to do what you did to get the work.
Yeah.
So you run out of work and you do the work again to get the work, and you go around in this continual cycle. How do you break the cycle?
It's hard. When you're by yourself, you can only focus on so many things at a time, and it's definitely, you've got to chase the work for a little bit, then you've got to do it, and then you've got to chase, and then you've got to do it, and you just got to keep doing that until you can put on a staff member, or you can lean on subcontractors who can do more of the work while you chase more of the work. And you just have to kind of find your own balancing act. Some people don't like to chase work. They just want to do the work. They like being tradesmen, which is fair enough. But you've definitely got to slowly build up, I think anyway, slowly build up to the point where you can have staff members that can take the load off, take the hats, because as everyone knows, as a sole trader, you wear all the hats until you can start leveraging other people's time and then slowly start going from there.
So you're 100% right. There's one more thing.
Okay.
There's one more thing. While you're doing that, there's a period of time where you just have to work really fucking hard. They're just long hours to break that cycle, because you've got to go out there and find the work, get your guys to do the work, and also do the work yourself. As long as you've got the end in mind when you're doing that, it'll be okay. But if you get stuck in there, life and business becomes very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So many guys get caught in that get the work, do the work, get the work, do the work. And they have these peaks and troughs. The only way to iron it out is to have a period of time where you're doing the work and you're also doing what needs to be done to get the work. It's really, really hard.
I think it's also good to have a clear goal in mind of an exit, because it can't be a forever thing unless you're going to pass the business on and pull wealth from it or whatever it might be. But I think having an exit in mind with a small business, whether you sell it off or whatever it might be, I think that can also really help kind of give you a clear vision.
So when you talk about having an exit, what do you mean by that? Do you mean...
What's your retirement going to look like, you know?
Okay. So how old would you be now?
36.
36. So...
In 15 days.
When are you factoring in retiring?
Look, I would love for my business to be passed down to my daughter. And, maybe she takes the reins, maybe she doesn't. Who knows? I'd love to be involved with it till maybe 65 and kind of maybe have an early retirement. That'd be great. Do more traveling with my wife and family and wherever my life might be at that stage. But yeah, my end goal is either to sell the business at the end as a turnkey operation that someone else can just take and it already has all the processes in place, or that I can just keep pulling a income from it.
Yeah, okay. So that's 30 years' time. So you got a lot of time to
Yeah.
sort of set all that up, get that in place.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the long-term goal, and then I've got my other, these are my 5-year goals, these are my this year goal, and things like that.
Let me ask you a question about your this year goal.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a goal for last year, for 1 year?
My goal for last year was to get better at selling to clients.
Okay, did you achieve that?
I think so. Well, yeah, the numbers definitely support that. I'm definitely getting better at giving more value to clients when we walk into the house. Kills me. I used to have the mind frame going to a client's house. They want PowerPoint. Okay, there's PowerPoint done. Thanks, Mr. Smith. And then see you later. But now, after kind of realizing what I need to do, it's now go in, do PowerPoint. And then it's like, oh, your smoke detectors look really old. Should we have a look at your smoke detectors?
Okay.
And then I was in a client's house the other day. We found that their smoke detectors were original for when the house was built.
Okay.
25 years ago.
Okay.
So
were they still working?
barely.
Barely. Okay.
One of them worked. There was no interconnecting cable or anything. So yeah, it was a very enjoyable upgrade to give to them, because also leaving that, I now know that they have a safer house. Right? I know now that their house is going to be better protected in case of a fire.
I wonder how many smoke detectors out there would be that old. I think it'd be quite a lot.
A lot of people don't actually realize that smoke detectors have an expiry of 10 years.
Yeah.
And so when you say someone, oh, they need to be replaced every 10 years, a lot of people are like, oh, I had no idea. I changed the battery once a year and that's about it.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things just kind of aren't common knowledge to people.
One of the things with goals that I found to be true, and I didn't learn this until after a while, and they say most people underestimate their 10-year goal but overestimate their 1-year goals. Now, I definitely fell into that bracket. I would always set goals at the start of every year, and I'd get to the end of the year and I'd be like, man, what was I thinking? There's no way in the world I could have achieved that. I always have a revenue goal, a gross profit, a net profit, and a cash goal to start with, those 4, and then whatever other goals were beneath it. My long-term goal, my 10-year goal, was to build a business that worked without me.
Yeah.
And I gave myself 10 years to do that. That one I got done in 5.
5 years spare.
Yeah, but it rang true to me. So do you find, or you might be relatively new to goal setting, but do you find that you overestimate your 1-year goal, underestimate your long-term goal?
It's funny, I like overestimating my goal because I'm a really driven person that if I want to achieve something, I'll do everything I can to make it happen.
Okay.
And I find that, for me anyway, personally, overestimating goals, maybe saying something too big, just gives me a bigger push to drive for it.
Really? Do you have any examples?
Put
Puts you on the spot a bit there,
a
mate.
little bit.
Sometimes
No,
it might
I
be
think
hard to
last
of.
year, the sales last year, so hitting
Yeah.
30K months, I had my August, September, November was 28, 35, and then another 32. And then obviously December falls off and January. But then this month we've hit 28 again.
Okay.
I say we, me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, yeah, I like it. I like pushing as hard as I can within limits. I've still got a family to keep happy. I don't think my daughter would be too impressed if I wasn't picking her up from kindy at 3:30 every day.
So you do that every day?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, family comes first. It's very rare for me to take an unknown caller at dinner time. Those are my pretty core values, is family dinner time, sitting down. Not that my daughter likes to talk after kindy, but, that is what it is.
So you've had consistent months at or around 30K, and forget December and January. What's stopping you from employing an apprentice to give you a hand?
Ooh, cash flow.
Yeah?
Yeah. Once again, it's my own reserves, my own kind of fear holding me back again. Probably similar to the I have to charge this because I feel that way. But I don't want to rush it. I don't want to hit it too early and then sink myself. There's a lot on the line at this stage in my life. Like, there's a much bigger mortgage. There's a family all tied into it. There's cars and everything else. I don't want to lose any of that. I've worked really hard to get there.
How much do you think you can make per month by yourself?
Well, yeah, I think 30 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. 30 per employee would be great.
So what does a first-year apprentice cost these days?
I have no idea. What's the minimum wage for a first year?
I don't know. They're probably around $20 an hour.
Used
to be
$12.
It used to be a no-brainer because it was so cheap to put on a first-year apprentice, and the government changed the rules, which means it's very interesting because it used to be a no-brainer and now it's not.
Yeah.
So it stops young people from being employed. They increase the percentage because apprentices are paid on a percentage of the full wage. I can't remember what they are, but fourth year might be 90 and then it might be 80 and 60 and 40 or whatever. And the first year apprentice used to be very low. Now it's very high.
Yeah.
But if they cost you $4,000 or $5,000 a month, how much do you think you could charge extra to cover that?
I don't think it's charging extra because we work off kind of like menu pricing. So if you want a PowerPoint, it's going to cost you X.
Yeah.
If there's 15 meters of cable involved with it, it's going to be X. So it's not necessarily charging more. It's just increasing my efficiency and what I can get done in a day. So, at the moment we're 3-4 hours for an EV charger install. With an apprentice, that extra set of hands, I can probably get down to 2.
Yep.
Which means I can get more charges done in the day, or I can get more done in the day. But that doesn't always work out. People get sick, cars break down. Like you can't guarantee that it's all going to be smooth sailing, and you've got to obviously teach them, which slows things down, but it's all about, passing on knowledge, right? We can't keep all this good knowledge to ourselves.
No, you can't. What about, would another tradesman be more beneficial for you than an apprentice?
I have had this discussion with my dad and my brother-in-law, who's also a business owner.
Yeah.
Both in completely different fields to myself. I think that a qualified tradesman is just going to be too much of an outlay of cost, first off, because it's the car, it's the ladders, it's the stocking it, it's all the other stuff that goes along with it. Whereas I can lower my risk with an apprentice. That's what I think.
So when would you look to put another tradesman on?
Next year. If things go really well, I'd love to put a tradesman on, and then I can put the tradesman with the apprentice, and then I can go do more boss things. I can go do more winning jobs and selling more work and business relationships and things like that.
So when do you think the ideal time to put a tradesman on is?
There's never an ideal time.
That's a good answer. It was a trick question.
It's whenever it suits, right? Like,
well, no, it's not really. So what happens when you're growing a business? There isn't a point where you can say, okay, great, I've got enough work for this person now. You kind of get to the point where you've got work for them. You've got to bring them in. And this is what people who don't own businesses don't understand, is you've got to have some balls right there and then, because you've got to back yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there and you're consistently hitting $30,000 months there or about, that's probably all you're going to make.
Yeah.
Until you take the next step.
It's the flea in the jar situation.
Yeah,
you set your own ceiling.
Yeah. So I'm certainly not saying rush out today and find another tradesman, but for a lot of people in your position, it's the fear of what if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
It's not the excitement of growing the business. And I was the same, so I know what it feels like. At some point, you've just got to back yourself.
Yeah.
Put them on, back yourself. And one of the things that you realise down the track is, you know what, that wasn't actually that much of a risk. That actually wasn't that hard. Glad I did it because now I've got someone to help me.
Yeah, 100%. But then it's also another mouth to feed, another person to think about.
Yep.
It's now no longer finding 8 hours of work a day. It's now finding 16 hours worth of work a day.
Or 12.
Or 12.
4 for you,
Yep.
8 for them. And then you can go off and do, as you call it, boss stuff to generate more work.
Quoting, selling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, once again, I'll get there. But yeah, I don't like to rush things.
When it comes to quoting, like, was that something difficult for you to learn? Or was it natural?
I did it a lot. But it was never actually looking at the figures of things. I would go out and scope works for my bosses and kind of say, look, roughly it's going to take me this long to do it. This is the stuff I'm going to need. And then they would obviously do all the figures behind the door. What helped significantly for me was no longer going to a site, scoping it all out, then going home, typing up the quote, sending it off, and then never hearing anything again. I changed my processes to, because of the coaching course, to quoting it on site and giving them the figure then and there, and then having those conversations about cost and value and all those sort of things with the client then and there. It's much easier to objection handle with someone face to face compared to them just writing things out on text or email, because it's just smoke screens. They'll just be like, oh, they'll palm me off, find the next cheaper person.
Did you track your conversion rates?
I think before December, we were at about 60% conversion.
Okay.
February, I think I'm down to about 50.
Okay.
It's been a bit tougher.
That's a good conversion rate.
Yeah. But it's still trying to, as you get with anything, it's just trying to weed through those bottom dollar clients that aren't worth your time and want to go with bottom dollar tradies.
Yep.
Compared to someone who understands and respects value and knowing that a trade's going to do their absolute best and give them the absolute best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I see it all the time. I've seen, I had an electrician call me up and he's like, hey, we're having trouble with this EV charger. Can you come out and help us? I was like, okay, sure. I'm like, I'll rock up and give you a hand. First thing I did was like, hey, so show me how you tested it. And he just stuck his multimeter prongs in the thing. He's like, oh, there's power there and it's not charging. I'm like, all right, where's your EV testing device? Oh, what's that? Okay. Pull it out of the car. This is the $4,000 piece of equipment that tests the charger.
Yeah, okay.
All you've done is connected an oven and tested it has voltage out. You haven't turned the oven on, right? So that's where the line starts to change a lot. And your average person can struggle to understand the difference between a really good Sparky who understands what a good, fair job is to someone who's just coming in at $500 to do an EV charger. Like it breaks my heart sometimes, but you just got to let them ride their own course, because at the end of the day, sometimes their budget's their budget. They can't shift on it. It's like, okay, it's fair enough. We can't do work together. That's fine. There's other people I can work with.
So if you're doing the quote from site, what software do you use?
I got onto this really good software called Flat Rate Now.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's you just punch in all these different things. You go, okay, so we're doing downlights, and then you flick through and they've got all the downlights. Okay. You're like, okay, we're doing sunny downlights, and it's going to be 15 meters of lighting cable, and we've got to do a nice, and it just stacks on all these things.
Okay.
And it works off averages. So they've worked with Sparkies and they kind of work out on average what it takes per thing, per fan, per whatever, and it just gives you a price.
Okay.
So it makes it really quick when you're walking around with the client as they're talking, you're talking about their house, and you're just like punching in the things and you're just getting that price going.
Okay.
And then before you know it, you just show them the iPad.
Yep.
And then just wait.
Okay. Once the job's completed, do you do a back costing to see how much profit you made?
I don't necessarily look at that. I know it all kind of calculates that in my JMS software, but I haven't kind of studied that greatly.
Okay.
I think our gross profit is at about 65% at the moment.
So that's very high. That's good. That should mean with low overheads, your net profit's quite high as well.
Yeah.
What are you doing with all your money?
Building a kitchen. I'm building my kitchen. I'm building my dream house, John.
Yeah.
Nah, a lot of my cash at the moment is pumping into my renos.
Okay.
So we bought an older house. She's an old girl. She's actually was built the same year I was born.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure she's got creaky knees like me. But yeah, we're finding lots of things that you discover along the way with older homes. Termite damage, mold damage.
Yeah.
Really strange things with old homes.
Yeah. Okay. So as
yes.
far as like where you want to sort of take the business over the next couple of years, do you have any questions on how you would do that or what you should do to get there?
What do you find were some of the biggest like kind of growing pains that you had as a business when you went from 1 to 2 to 5 to 10?
Yeah, good question. I think that growing pains going from just yourself to other people, it's really that fear or what would happen if I didn't have any work? What would happen if I run out of money? So it's not so much a growing pain as a fear. And the best way to get past that is to stop thinking about what you don't want and start thinking about what you do want. And it wasn't long after that I started to become very clear on where I wanted to go. And as soon as I knew that I wanted to build a business that had a management team that worked without me, everything that I did factored in and around that.
Yeah, you can kind of reverse engineer it from there.
You can.
Once you know you've got a clear vision.
Yeah. So that made it quite easy. One of the biggest challenges that almost anybody in a trade business has in Victoria, even Australia, is just finding people. And I was talking to somebody recently and I said, I'm sure when I'm in my 80s and I'm talking to a young guy and I tell them one of the biggest challenges that I had building my business was actually finding people, they'll laugh at me. Because you think about it, years and years ago, when you advertised a role, you had dozens of people applying for that particular role.
Yeah.
I know businesses now who advertise a role and they don't get anyone applying, or they get people who aren't qualified and aren't in the country applying. If people apply and they set up an interview, they just don't turn up. They don't email, they don't phone, they just vanish.
Yeah.
And that's something that when I was an apprentice, that never happened. There was always employees for people that wanted employees. So that is a huge challenge and a huge growing pain at the moment. Where do you find these people and how do you find them? And I've got clients that are growing and they need to find tradespeople and they need to find office people. When I look back through that period of time and I employed all of those people, I remember it was challenging, but I always found them. And one of the things that my coach used to always say to me that I didn't agree with for a long time was always be hiring.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought, Steve, you're full of shit. What does that mean? But he was right. Always be hiring. Now, I give clients examples of what that is. And it could just be one example of a really good guy that I hired. I'm not sure. Was Jimmy working for me when you were there? He might have started
Traralgon based or Melbourne based?
Melbourne based.
I don't remember Jimmy.
So he might have come after you left. And Jimmy was just a really good guy, a really good electrician. He started his own business too now, I hear. And he was my wife's friend's partner.
Yeah.
And we went out for dinner with them one day and I was talking with him and he was just a really good guy. And I said to my wife, he's going to work for me one day. And what I did was just every 6 months, I just give him a call if I didn't see him and we'd have a chat.
Yeah.
And I'd say, so you ready to come work for me yet?
Just get pestering him.
No, not yet. And then one year I rang him and he said, look, not right now, but I think halfway through next year I'll be ready.
You're like the Jack Russell with the ball. Just keep pestering until you get what you want.
Yeah, dog with a bone.
Finally.
I wouldn't say pestering.
Okay.
Let's just say checking
6
in.
months, yes, check in.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So that's one good example of what always be hiring is when you come across a good person.
Did you find you had better success with hiring people who knew people, like recommendations, or hiring straight off online ads?
No, definitely a referral into the business. And one of the things that I did with a lot of success is when it was time to find a new electrician, I'd ask all my staff, hey, you know anyone that might want to come and work for us?
Yeah.
And no one really knew anyone until I said, I'll give you $1,000 if they start.
That's a good way to go about it.
Yeah. And I cannot think of a time where I made that offer that I didn't find somebody. And when you think about it, if you're going to go put an ad on Seek, you're going to go do a few other things. It's going to cost you between $500 and $1,000 anyway.
Plus time.
Plus time. Why not give that to one of your employees?
100%. They feel better for it.
Yeah.
They're generally going to have a big smile on their face. You got me through a group hire mob.
Did. So, yeah, not the greatest of strategies.
No, but it paid off.
But it's not the worst either. So you can hire people on a short-term basis and then pay it out or over a period of time.
I've used some labour hire mobs in the past and you get a few like diamonds in the rough, but man, there's just a lot of rough to go through first.
Yep.
Like, geez, it's horrific out there. Some of the people that are calling themselves electricians or, whatever trade it might be. It's hard. So recommendations are big. Recommendations, should always be considered top priority, I think.
Yeah, it's like a referral for your business too. If you get a referral from somebody, they're generally a good lead.
Yeah, that first level of trust has already kind of been set up compared to going in something fresh and they're like, I don't know you, compared to, oh, John and Mary recommended you and we saw your work at their house and we love what they've done.
Have you gotten involved in a business networking referral group?
I haven't done any BMIs or anything like that.
Okay.
It has been on my to-do list, but I think I just want to get the kitchen bowled over. And kind of once I got that, because then I have more free time. Because at the moment I'm going home and I'm plastering and I'm painting and I'm
much fun.
Running more cables at home, crawling in my own roof for once.
So I highly recommend business networking, business referral groups like B&I you mentioned. One of the challenges that tradespeople have got, they're so good for tradespeople, it can be very hard to get into them. But it's really, really good for the beginning of business because they do pass referrals and then you learn how to pass referrals as well. We've got a couple of minutes left, mate. This has gone really quick.
Yeah, always
Is there anything that you want to talk about before we finish this up?
If you could change one thing to make the industry better, what would you change?
I'd make people charge more. I'd do two things. People charge more, number one. And number two, on commercial projects, it is almost always a race to the bottom.
Oh, bad.
The builder gets a quote for $1 million and they will ring around and find somebody to do it for $900,000. That's the main thing I'd stamp out.
Yeah. Similar vein is I just wish everyone charged a very similar amount within something. If there was something in when you do your REC course, if there was a business costings portion of it or something, and just kind of set the bar a little bit better, because nothing's more heartbreaking when you go to a quote and they're like, oh, I've already got a price here for half as much. And you're like, well, what are you getting for half as much? Oh, you're getting some cheap imported RCD that's probably going to burn out in a year. They're probably going to cut corners. If I'm making 10% off this job once I pay everything and this is how much I'm charging, what do you think they're doing to make 50% less than me? Like what corners are they going to have to cut? So it'd be great, I think, if everyone kind of understood their costings and charged a similar level.
Good.
So when they call around, they're all kind of getting prices within maybe $100 of each other. Instead of 500 or 1,000.
That'd be good.
I think that would help a lot.
Good. Well, that's a good final question. Well, thanks for coming in today, Jacob.
Absolute
It's
pleasure.
been good to catch up and thanks for your input. I think you've said some very interesting things. Where can people find you and your business?
You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram at Bang On Electrical Services. Once again, we specialize in EVs, but we can also help you out with all your other domestic needs and commercial needs as well.
Good. Thanks for coming, mate.